Welcome back to another Stiff Rod podcast. And today we're featuring no special guests today. Because we have a lot to talk about since our last one. So initially we tried to shoot right before the Lake of the Ozarks tournament, like literally the night before, like 11 o'clock. It was a great podcast, and come to upload it, SD card, mic is all jacked up. So I gotta order a new mic, and right now we're running off like just the default mic on the old Canon M50, which should be fine. I looked at it before we started filming, it should be fine. So I'm gonna get a new mic ordered. We should be good to go, but just got off our Lake of the Ozarks tournament. What was that? Friday.
Yeah.
And we had Dardanelle as well. That was our last episode, was the day, or getting ready for practice for Dardanelle. So first, let's start off with Dardanelle. Why don't you boys tell us how it went for you guys?
Well, it was one of those deals where you're either going to catch him or he's going to be spun. And we had the bites to catch him, and we did not put him in the boat.
No, we
did not execute one bit. And I'm sure everybody's going to say that. Every fisherman's going to say that. But no, we legitimately had the bites for that top 5 of the tournament.
I agree. I think we had a shot at 12 pounds a day, which would have put us right up there in it. But for some reason, the fish didn't want to come in the boat. I don't know what happened.
It was
Yeah, and especially in a place like that, like, you know,
you lose 5 bites.
You can't afford.
you can't afford to lose. Like up in when you go fish up north, I mean, you lose 3-pounder, it sucks, but it's like, dude, there's 100 of them down there. Dardanelle, probably 15 fish in the whole dang lake.
Yeah.
5 of them were probably over 3.
Well, do y'all want to go into like how our practice went and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
So, going into practice, we took advantage of Dardanelle only being 3 hours from campus. So we went down there the weekend before. I had found this little sneak hole on Google Earth, and it was a run back there. We were running like almost a mile through 1.5 feet of water to get in this big deep hole. And we had found some fish in there, fish that I thought could put us in the top 10, and I was right. There were definitely fish in there. I think on day 1 we lost 4 keepers in there.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't think we did anything wrong really. It was just the nature of the cover that we were fishing. And on day 2, I know we lost one that was 4+ right beside the boat. We just had some key execution errors that you can't afford on a place like that with that fish population.
It was one of those odd spots, just like that stretch of bank.
Yeah,
That
it was
tiny
super
stretch.
specific. It was kind of one of those stick on the same 30-yard stretch all day long, and that's exactly what we did. We grounded out, got the bites, just couldn't figure out how to put them in the boat.
Well, there was more fish.
Grounded out.
Yeah, there's more fish in the cove because some old man told us we're in the wrong spot, and he proceeded to make 2 casts in the other.
No,
spot.
I
No,
mean,
we
like
can-
a 12-foot Johnny with
We can talk about
always
that.
15.
So, on our final day of practice,
No, this was Thursday.
no, I'm talking about where we got,
the week before.
whatever, yeah, something like that. So, on one of our days of practice, we had found this stretch of bank the weekend prior, and we knew that there were solid keepers there, and we had went back to check it, and I think we had shook 2 off on the bank, and we ran further down the creek and came back by the bank. Well, there was an older man, and he was in a 12-foot john boat with a 15-inch Solix mounted on the front of his john boat, and the john boat was so small that whenever he stood on the front of the boat, his motor came out of the water. And I watched him proceed to go down that bank and throw his spinnerbait and catch a 4-pounder and put it in his cooler. So I didn't know whether it was a good sign or a bad sign. And come to find out, on the first day of the tournament, we had an interaction with him. We were running back to that hole I was talking about, and he was fishing the mouth of it coming in. And I had an interaction with him. I said, "Sir, would you mind if we jumped up in front of you a little bit? There's just one 30-yard stretch in front of you that we'd like to fish." And and I quote, this is what he said: "Well, son, if you think you can make some money off of it, go ahead." I said, "All right." Well, we pull up, and this one stretch of bank that we're fishing, it's super deep compared to everything else around it. And we're fishing up and down it, up and down it. Well, he turns and goes around us, and as he's going around us, he turns at us and says, "Boys, y'all are out fishing in deep water, and them fish are right up here. And he pulls up on the bank, and his second cast, he caught a 3-pounder. And I thought, well, I guess I learned something new every day. And he proceeded to tell me that he had been fishing Lake Dardanelle since 1968.
Yep.
And I understood why I was getting my teeth kicked in. Well,
we saw him catch fish. Like, it was weird because it seemed like every time we pulled up to a spot, he was somewhere to be around.
yep. And
He was somewhere around there.
it gave me that confidence that I was in the right area.
He was like our guardian angel of the weekend. He was just there, like the Jesus of fish, basically. I mean, he was old, dude.
Well, y'all go ahead and tell us about your practice.
Yeah, so we pre-practice as well, and like my thing going into it was to stay on the lower end of the lake because they have the BFL there, and like there's I was thinking, you know, there'd be retread fish all over the bottom of Illinois Bayou where they launched out of, and it's just always been a more productive area of the lake. You know, Toyota Series got one out of Delaware. Lots of guys cash checks in Illinois, and it kind of sets up to how I like to fish. And you know, we're in the old 18-foot Rangers, so it could run up north, but you know, it's great for just hopping around spots like down by the ramp. And I just thought getting more time with our line in the water would have been optimal, but turned out to not be that case. So Illinois was just brutal. I mean, the whole lake for this time of year was very, very low. They weren't pulling any current, so like anything on the main channel is not really playing as a factor. And so I kind of thought that Illinois Bayou area would be better. And we fished the bank mostly, and we found one area in practice, like a little backwater, that we got a couple bites in and shook most of them off except for one, which was a keeper, and they ended up all being little ones. I mean, we only weighed in one keeper 2 days, so it was brutal. And the 364, that's a whole nother thing that I'll have to get into. But as far as the tournament, I definitely think we should have expanded on the offshore stuff down there in Illinois, or next time we'll probably just go up the lake. But I honestly don't know. It was a brutal fishery, but it definitely, if I had my boat right now, I would definitely be going down there and seeing what I could have done differently. Is that I was very confused at the end of it. But
It wasn't
What do you think, Tucker?
She's a stingy fishery. I wouldn't be taking my boat down there this weekend.
yeah.
Or any weekend. If I don't have to go back to Russellville, Arkansas again, I won't.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just my first tournament running out like in the front of the boat. I've ran like on other guys' boats and stuff, but that was my first tournament out of my own personal boat, and the last for a while because the 364.
Well, you ran that Table Rock tournament.
Oh yeah. We did get one good derb out of the boat before we left. Before she left me. But we got fifth at Table Rock, a little local derby. But yeah, Dardanelle is just a very interesting fishery. I really thought it would set up like the rivers I fish back home. Not the case. In my opinion, at least.
I have a small little, like I want to go back just to get a little revenge for that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna sign up for the Toyota Series down there as a co-angler in April. Yeah, it's only 3 hours. You can just sleep in the truck and
Yep.
500 bucks
Yep.
in spring. But
We can get on to Lake Ozarks if y'all want to. Y'all can go ahead and start on.
the one in the fall.
No, I'm talking about the one we had this weekend. If y'all want to recap that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. When did you start practicing there? You.
Oh,
were there all week.
he practiced there all week. I just showed up for a day and hopped in the boat with him and we fished, and then I did try to bring my boat there one day, but then my trolling motor got all jacked up, and I think I'm gonna have to take my trolling motor and get it like worked on because it's doing
Hit the
some
water
weird.
too many times.
Apparently, yeah. Dardanelle jacked her up. I broke the live scope mount on it, hitting a stump, and then I don't know. It's like the well, the transom cracked more. Oh, I guess I should just.
Yeah, you didn't even
just-
go through the track.
I'm
You
just
wanna
gonna
pull
go-
out your phone and do the whole list?
Well, I deleted today. I actually fixed a lot of things. I could probably go off on the top of my head. So, obviously the transom was a really big one there, and the crack. I should not have ran the boat there at Dardanelle, but I didn't have any knowledge about transoms, and the crack was only like this big, and so I didn't think it was a big deal, but it did spread. But I'm gonna get it worked on. in the back, the rub rail was not. I got a new rub rail after the accident that I got into it, like literally 10 minutes after I bought it. So I resealed that today with silicone. When they installed the rub rail, it was not sealed properly. So like it was leaking water in the back. Like you could hear the stream of water, and like we were bilging out. I didn't have an auto bilge, so we were bilging out like 5 gallons of water per hour, like just flipping the switch on and off like every 30 minutes. And you could literally hear the stream coming in. And I've been dealing with that since I got the boat back. But I fixed that today. The trolling motor, the live scope bracket broke. I got that fixed, but then the trolling motor is messed up because it's like spinning around a lot and it tangles up the live scope mount, and then I can't move it at all because, yeah, it's.
I wouldn't want to break one of those wires.
Yeah, and then.
That's a $1,500 mistake.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, the wire is
Yeah.
like sheared. Like I covered it in electrical tape, so it'll be fine now.
Yeah, we need to cover mileage.
It's not. You can't see the wire, but it's close.
We rubbed a little bit on a cable at Lake the Ozarks.
Yeah.
She's a little bit thin on one side.
Yeah.
She needs to get a little tape on her.
It may be time for a 34. We'll see. But I'm paying for all these repairs right now. Oh,
The truck.
big one. The spare tire. Oh God, I totally forgot about this.
Boy.
So we were coming down the highway on the way back from Dardanelle, and so we're coming down the highway. Literally just get on to the highway. We got Maverick behind us, towing his boat and truck, and so we get on the highway. Literally not even a mile down, and so we come up to this divot. Truck dips down, and truck dips down. I'm sorry, excuse my language. And we come up from this divot, and then I hear like a vibration. The trailer slows down, and this all happened in a matter of probably 3 seconds. So it slows down. I'm like, what is that? I look behind me. Maverick is literally swerved into the other lane going like 70 miles an hour. I literally thought he was going to roll his entire rig into the ditch. He swerved so hard. My spare tire was on a trajectory to go straight through his window, but he swerved, so he was good. And essentially what happened is I got this new trailer from, well, I'm not going to say the name, but I got this new trailer after the accident, and the spare tire, the bolt was either over tightened or not tightened enough. I never really looked at it. I should have, coming from the factory, and I've only had the trailer for about a month. And so what happened is that spare tire, well, I think it was over tightened because the J hook,
sheared.
yes, the J hook on the attached to the tire literally sheared in half. I have it in my truck still, and I saw it, and it literally sheared in half. And that spare tire, it kind of hung. Tristan was in the truck as well, and he said he saw it like dragging under the trailer and like barely hanging on. And then once we hit that divot, it sent the spare tire under the trailer because it was mounted like on the front, under the trailer, bounced around a bunch, and when we hit that divot, it launched the spare tire like 60 feet in the air.
Big ol' to the
Yeah,
moon.
it was insane. It was
Well,
insane.
on its flight trajectory as well, it clipped the
It
power
clipped
pole.
the power pole. The spike is gone.
Barely missed Maverick's truck thanks to Maverick's evasive driving maneuvers.
Yeah.
Bounced over the top of a Bison Transport semi-truck and into the median.
I
where
got it back,
proceeded
though.
to demolish some of the beautiful I-40 nature.
That beautiful
Why did you
landscape.
find it in the woods?
It was not that bad. Like I could literally, I was walking back down the highway, and I just saw the trail of it like rolling down, and then I just seen it lying there next to a stump, and I picked her up, brought her back, but the tires like has a big gash in it.
The tire's
the
not
wheel's
what you
bent.
need to worry about. The wheel is bent.
Yes.
It's out of commission. But at least you have it.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
hopefully
cool-
we'll do like
Now
a
it's a
cool
room
warranty.
souvenir.
If we
exactly.
ever get a stiff rod studio, that can be part of it.
Oh, dude, that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's essentially what happened. And then clipped my power pole. Shout out to power pole. There's literally a big chunk of metal missing on the bracket, but like it is not like budge. at all.
Yeah. 60 pounds getting
And
flung at it at 70 miles
You
an
got
hour.
to well, you got to
Incredible.
think about how hard that tire must have hit that power pole because it literally hit the power pole and then still got launched 60 feet in the air. So that's impressive.
That
It
is
just takes-
impressive.
That's impressive.
But you cannot lie. PowerPole has got to have the best customer service in the industry.
You
Oh, yeah.
talked to him about it yet?
No. So the transom work I'm getting done, they're a power pole dealer, so I'll just have them do the whole thing. The power pole spikes are free because apparently a lot of people break them off. So we'll just get that shipped and then we'll put that on and
Yeah.
you're good to go. But the boat's gonna be out of commission for probably, they're saying end of November was when they can start working on it, and then it'll probably be 3 weeks from then. So about
That's
2
not too
Not
bad.
2 months. No. I thought it was gonna be like 5 to 6 months
Yeah, that's
at
not
first.
bad
That's
at
what
all.
everyone told me. But hopefully, Old Championship Marine down there in Reed Springs, Missouri, can get us fixed up and ready to go.
Well, you know where the kitty cat stays.
Kitty Cat's had almost a permanent home at this point.
Almost.
She's
She's
been
not
there for
back
a
yet?
while.
Nope, she's
Oh,
not back.
boy.
When did you drop it off? That was like right after Kentucky, like
It was
Yeah.
right after Kentucky.
It was supposed to be like a quick thing.
Yeah, well,
It started.
it's we're still waiting on a jack plate from TH.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the marina, right?
No, I know. Post Choice is doing everything they can. Yeah, somehow at Kentucky Lake for the big bass thing, I managed to shear off 2 of the bolts holding my jack plate onto my transom.
Yeah.
So she's dangling a little bit, but we're getting her all fixed up. So right now we're running the nitro.
The old
The old
spare.
troll.
Hey, she didn't do too bad.
No, we're gonna see how she does this week at Pickwick.
She's gonna have a run under her feet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Either way, you guys go.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go too deep into the details.
No, we'll get that next
But
week.
yeah, that'll be next week. But yeah, that's. Oh, we didn't even start talking about Lake Ozarks yet.
No.
No,
Let's go for it, boys.
All right.
You guys start off.
you can go ahead.
We had
Ozark.
very different
Well-
approaches.
Very different. So, I started. We got back from. That was a Saturday, Sunday deal going on, right?
Yep.
So we got back Sunday night. I have my classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I get out by noon. So I shot over after class Monday, and I had a very productive day on Lake Ozarks. Very. I figured out that I could pull up to just about any brush pile and catch a keeper at least.
Oh, that was the day you were fishing around Ethan.
I was fishing on Ethan. Ethan, he was here on the last podcast. I'm not going to tell his stuff. But
The last
Everyone,
field.
pretty much
Yeah.
everyone did good.
Yeah. So okay. So practice was a freaking
Slugfest.
Slugfest. Like it was ridiculous. I think. Well, we took our hooks off our stuff, off our top water.
There, you can tell.
Yeah.
They're big.
And they're coming up. But it was weird because when they hit that like a plopper or something, it like they come up with their mouth shut, like
Yeah.
just shut.
Slap it. And that's it. That's the end of the story.
Yeah. Even like the buzzbait. I mean, it was weird. It's like they're just a headbutting thing.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen. It was a very cloudy, nasty day. I mean, it was a cold front though, a little bit.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
But
Then
I
one
mean,
in the tournament definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and Cade figured out how to get between 18 and 20 pounds of bite, and it was like all or nothing. What
But it was like it was a hero or zero moment.
Yeah.
It was feast or famine. We were gonna have to lock that big bait, lock the
Mr. Fan.
lock the top water in our hand, and hope we got 5 bites, and hope that we got those 5 bites out of where we were throwing the top water.
Yeah, because that was a whole other. I mean, we hooked tournament day. We hooked a 5-pounder, and it took us
10 minutes.
It looked like a circus. Me and Cade trying to get the boat. Me reach over 2 cables. Cade hold me in so I don't fall out, and me not drop the net coming back. It was a mess. And then I caught one that was like 14 3/4.
Yeah. A keeper, if y'all don't know, a keeper on the Ozarks is 15.
Yeah.
Caleb had one hung up in a cable.
We were
4 cables away from us.
Yeah, 4 cables and a beam. And after 10 minutes of trying to figure out how we were going to get to it, because I clicked my thing and let us try swimming and wouldn't get far enough. So I was like, hey, you're good at flipping. Flip your chopper up there and hook the line. So he eventually got it. He hooked the line, and that's how we got that freaking bass in the boat.
Yeah, and we thought it was a keeper the whole time. Put her on the board. Highly disappointed. In
Yeah,
the time that we just wasted.
there was a lot of cuss words on that one. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pretty much any Ozark fishing around here, y'all know the plopper bite is no secret. And
No.
it's always that way. I feel like
No,
it's like 5 bites.
The year the plopper came out,
Stupid.
it's like those fish never seen anything.
Well, it's been around up north for a long time.
Yeah, well, when it like
Well,
first
because they
happened-
musky
Dude,
fish
that's
like
one thing.
originally.
Down south, like at home, people throw the big musky ones, like the 190s.
Yeah.
The big ones.
I've got
And a
big
14-incher will
smallmouth.
come up
They
and eat
throw
that
them
all day
here.
long.
I've
They're from
caught
here.
big smallmouth on that 190. It's
Really?
incredible. I even have one that I throw on the river back home that is literally like a musky plopper. That is not like a whopper plopper. It's like
Oh, is that wooden one?
yeah, Jimbo's bait shop. It's a little wooden thing. It's got like an orange head and it's got this like square tubing around the wire, and it hops and it makes real weird noises, and they just love it for some reason. I don't know Like you can throw it out of the back of the boat right next to somebody throwing a whopper plopper, and they'll eat it over a whopper plopper.
So on that note, whenever we pulled our boat to Canada a couple years ago, my uncle from Wisconsin had stopped at a flea market, and this bait that he brought to us, it looked like a golf ball with a bill on it. It was a wake bait, and it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. We got to Canada, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tie it on. We're gonna see what happens. First cast, 4-pound smallmouth, and it was ridiculous. We only had 3 of them, and within 15 casts, we had 10 smallmouth caught, and then 3 pike took all of our baits. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Just a little wake bait. Looked like a golf ball, it was circular, with 2 treble hooks on it.
It's one of those movie baits.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's nice we don't gotta worry about those down here though. I'm used to fishing up lacrosse.
Dude, freaking
No
Dardanelle.
chain.
I don't know if we talked about this. At Dardanelle, we had a bowfin try eating our
Really?
One of our keepers.
Yeah.
I was
Like
catching them.
eating it?
Yes.
Like literally, like Cade was. We were punching. Cade set the hook on one. It was right there. I was like, Cade, look at that shadow under that bass. It just kept rising, and it just started trying to grab that thing. I was like, figure eight it.
Oh my God.
That was in practice. We weren't supposed to hook that one, but
Yeah, we had a couple accidents.
yeah, it happens. Okay, it's one of those things. You punch in the mat, and as soon as it hits the water, it feels like you hit a brick wall, and you have like that's just my reaction. Just oh, and then you're like, well,
I threw a
Somewhat
spinner
of
bait
that.
against the bait. I had a couple pieces of loose line. I'm picking it out, and I just see my line. I look at Cade. I was like, uh-oh. So I finished, and at this point, there was no shaking it off. And I was around a brush, like under a tree, and then had like a log that was loose on the bottom come up. And then on the other side of that log, about 10 yards, about a 3.5 pounder jumps with my spinner bait in its mouth. I was like, son of a gun. Then look behind us, and there's a boat, of course.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like sticking fish at Dardanelle, like you would think that you would shake them off and like at least a couple of them would be 14 inches, but me and him went in this little area and we had probably 6-8 bites. Stuck one of them was a keeper, and then we just assumed all the other ones were keepers.
yeah. No, I've done that before multiple times. I've been burned by it, but it's one of those things you can't afford to set the hook.
Especially
So it's like
Dardanelle.
it's all a guess.
And like
The
way you guys are
hard
fishing
part
those
with
are resident
Dardanelle is
No, it was our resident fish.
you fish, you literally fish half a mile of a grass bank, and you'll get one bite on it. And at that point, you have to swing on it. You just feel like you have to. Because what are you going to do? Run back there and practice and fish the same half mile?
Yeah,
You're gonna spend an
exactly.
hour and a half on one grass stretch for
Exactly.
what might not even be a keeper?
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky. That place is a tricky fishery, and it's kind of what I was expecting coming in, and that's exactly what I got.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Why don't you dive into our Lake of the Ozarks experience?
yeah, I headed up there a little bit early. Slept in the truck. Bill Ram Suites. That was good. Stayed at the state park campground. That was nice. I feel bad for I don't know if I feel bad. It's just I'm a bit curious what the people in the next campsite over thought, because they had a whole function. They probably had a dozen people out here sipping beer, listening to country music, and around the fire. They had something cooking there that smelled delicious. And this homeboy
the raccoon at night.
just pulls in, backs his boat into this slit, plugs one extension cord into the boat, one through the back window of the truck, hops in the bed of the truck, and never see him the rest of the week. Because I was gone before they left, and I was getting back while they were still partying. And that was a good experience. That was the first time I had ever done that, and I wouldn't hesitate to do it again. I probably will if I go to Lake of the Pines or anything like that, or any of our tournaments going forward. I'll probably heavily consider that. But
are y'all planning on getting in the winter series around here?
I want to.
He's
Yeah.
gonna
Dude,
Yeah, he's gonna be
He's
a
gonna
hammer.
do the
I don't want
hammer on
to
it.
look. If we're gonna make it fair, you have to turn your live scope off. Randy Blockett style.
Nuh-uh.
Randy Blockett style.
No, I had my first taste of like true live scoping at the local derb that we fished, me and Tuck, and like down here it's stupid. It's stupid.
Well,
Like,
y'all use that in your Lake of the Ozarks stuff, didn't you?
yeah, but it was more like fishing piles and like just kind of knowing where to cast.
it didn't really matter for Lake of the Ozarks. To kind of recap my practice, I had a good deal found. I felt pretty confident into it coming into the tournament that I could catch a top 3 bag looking at the weights now, but I kind of figured it was going to be the exact same way. I figured somewhere in the neighborhood of 16, 17 to win. I think, what did I say the night before, like 17 and a quarter?
Yeah.
I think that was going to be your winning mark, and I think I said 12 or 12 and a half to qualify. It ended up being less than that, but I figured I was at least around a good solid 280 to 3 and a quarter bite on these piles, and I had it kind of dialed into where my best area was I had this one line of docks where every boat dock had at least 3 piles on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off with 2 piles on this rock point, and then there was this dock on the corner. It literally had 4 piles, and then one. I never figured out what it was, even on my side imaging. It just looked like a boulder, like you would see on the Great Lakes.
At Lake Ozarks, that could have been God knows what.
Yeah.
You find some weird stuff on that graph.
Heck yeah. I sat there idled over it 3 times with my mega side imaging. Best side imaging in the game, and I still could not decipher what it was because it looked like an egg, and the shadow off of it was like just massive, and I'm like, and I can just see little white dots around it, and I point my mega live at it. Sure enough, there's a bunch of fish on
We
it.
found a bunch, like looking on LiveScope, we found a bunch of like parts of docks, like old floating docks,
Yeah.
like the frame of docks. So
Yeah.
that could have been what it was. I don't know.
I'd have a whole building.
I mean, it was just a
of
big
fish.
egg.
It's what it was. Old building that got torn up.
Yeah, there was a house foundation that I fished that was marked on my lake mask. I was like, there's no way there's actually a house foundation right here.
Mhm.
Graph over it, sure as heck.
Table Rock, there's literally like a whole house. Like it looks like a standing house.
Yeah, by the dam.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's several of
Found
them.
it, yeah.
And it's crazy. Shout out that Lake Master mapping because
Absolutely.
there's so many of them marked. I mean, you look at it and it's just house icon, house icon, house icon, house icon, and I'm like, well, okay.
That's like the first time we found that. I was fishing on my high school partner Grant's boat, and LiveScope just was coming out, and that was like the first or second time he's had it out on Big Lake.
Yeah.
And it took us so long to realize that was a house. We're like, what are we looking at?
Yeah.
Honestly, up north, LiveScope came to ice fishing before it came to bass fishing. Which I have yet to use it in my actual hand, like use it myself, but this winter will be the first run with it. I'm going to manufacture some sort of system for my Mega Live.
Get you an old PVC pole.
I'm going to pull, I don't think the 12 has ice mode, but I know the 10s do. I'll pull that 10 off, I'll stick it on my little shuttle, stick my lithium battery in there, and go out there, scan for some bluegills.
You do that. I'll be shooting ducks.
Yeah, I'll be killing those. Trying to at least.
You guys
We-
won't be driving your pickup truck out on the frozen lake.
No, absolutely
You will
not.
not see me on a piece of ice with my truck.
Speaking of ice, in what time is it? 10:30, 11 o'clock?
It was 10:30.
In about 12, 13 hours, I'm going to disembark, heading home for fall break. I am
Okay.
excited. That leads me into my first cast section. My first cast, Wednesday morning, will be on the Wolf River. And I will roll up to the first rock bank with a DT6 in Big Shad, and that will be all I have on my deck. And I will throw it on rock banks until I catch a 4-pounder.
This
There you
guy's
go.
fiending.
Yeah.
He is fiending for that river.
I
bottom.
already
Since we're going
picturing
into
it.
the first cast.
I already know what bank I'm going to start on, and I'm fairly confident I will catch one off of it.
Actually Tuesday after class, we're gonna leave at like 4 o'clock. We're
Y'all
headed to
headed to
old,
Pickwick.
we're
Yep.
headed to old Florence,
Oh,
Alabama.
yeah.
I think on Wednesday, my first cast will be with the old trusty plopper. You can't go wrong with it in the
Can't
fall
go
time.
wrong.
You can.
Everybody and their brother throws it, but they throw it for a reason.
Yeah.
Just like community
Just
holes are
like-
community holes for a reason. Oh, really?
Saw that pop up. Oh yeah. Joey's doing really well. Or Crackgator's doing really well. They're expanding that
What do you say?
everywhere.
The buzz total.
Yeah. They got a couple towns or a couple.
Oh, yeah,
bait
speaking of that,
shops.
Speaking of the topwater deal at Lake Ozarks, that buzz toad, dude,
So we did catch
that
fish.
was the juice.
Well, it's just putting the trailer hook on there is like the mod is so smart.
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
one
I've
of
never-
the most innovative things in the industry.
I've never thrown like I throw toads all the time back home, and like toads on a buzz bait, throw a buzz bait, but like I never threw trailer hook just because of the way it swivels and you'll get caught in the grass. But the way it sits right there on top of the toad when you're coming through grass. I mean, you don't have to worry about it here, but back home,
Yeah.
anywhere with grass, like
Yeah.
it's so
Me
annoying.
too. Yeah.
So
Well, the Big Bass Bash, the owner of Fitz, which that's a big tackle shop in the Ozark area. They sold one bag of Zoom Huntingtons. One bag. Everything else
Yeah.
was
I can't.
crocodiles.
And there was a second place was weighed on the Crockett Gator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 6 something. So
Dude, after throwing that last week, I am convinced it's got to be top 3 loudest buzz baits in the industry.
Oh, it does sound
If
like
I bend it just right where that blade hits the head, oh my gosh.
yeah.
You can hear it coming from a mile away. And
Yeah.
I feel like that was a big player in how many bites we were getting. Because we'd throw it behind them cables under the walkway, and they would come. I saw a fish on the live scope come all the way from the front of the dock, and come all the way to it.
It was so weird because those fish wouldn't bite till it was on the cable.
Yeah, like you get all the way to the cable where they knew it was the most dangerous spot where you couldn't get them out. Boom! Come up and just inhale it.
Man, those fish in practice, they were so fiery. Like,
Oh yeah.
I was watching fish, like, I would take that 110+1 and I would lob it. And it was windy, pretty much all of practice.
Yeah.
It was either pouring rain
It was
or
either
windy.
point. Yeah, absolutely.
Those were the two options. There was no happy in the middle spot. No, it was either blowing or pouring rain. And I had one, I had seen the brush pile on this dock and it was perfectly level with the end of the dock. Like, they did a great job of planting that. Incredibly great job. And I'm looking and I'm like, crap. All these fish are on the inside edge of this brush pile that's like 10 feet under the dock. Well, how's that going to work? Well, I pitched at it a little bit. I could not get him to chase to the other side where I could get my drop shot to or my jig. So I just take that jerkbait, lob it right alongside the dock, and I made like 2 twitches. They came back. I lobbed it about 30 feet behind that brush pile. I watched them at 70 feet just come straight to it, about 4 or 5 of them, and they just demolished that jerkbait. I only had one good one on it that was just over 3. That was only like a 3 1/4. But man, in practice, it felt like you could really honestly pull 5 keepers off one spot doing that.
Absolutely.
And there was a little thing too where you could, if you rolled up on a pile and you could not get them to fire, but you could see them there, like they'd chase your drop shot down. You could throw the kitchen sink at them, and they would not commit to it. You could throw that jerkbait over them, just burn the crap out of it. I mean, Carter saw how hard I was ripping that jerkbait. I mean, you are like you're swinging a baseball bat, just cracking the heck out of it. And you get it over them, you get about 10 feet past that brush pile, burn it out of there real quick, and before they can realize that it dipped off on them and they can't track it, pitch that drop shot right on them and you can just start picking them off. I picked off my biggest one of practice doing that.
Dude, that's smart. That's really smart.
That's a little something up north that, I'm not sure any of my northern boys will watch this, but that plus that little 1/8 ounce tungsten weight on a drop shot, 1/8 or
Dang,
sometimes
y'all are
like
throwing tungsten on your drop shots.
yeah.
Must be nice.
Wow. Well, no, I'm still throwing lead because I break them off way too much.
No,
You gotta use the tie ones. There's a place, there's a place on the internet that sells them that's really cheap. It's like $3 for like a
Yeah,
5 or
I
6
actually know what you're talking about. It looks like some sketchy website.
like a Chinese website.
No,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
place that I buy them from is like pretty legit. I bought a couple of rods from there even.
Really?
They,
No,
I
this-
don't know if they have any more in
This place
stock.
on, like when you're placing your order, you're
I know the
scared
place
of
you're talking
credit
about.
card
I
fraud
ordered from there
or
once,
fraud.
and I literally went to Walmart and I bought one of those prepaid gift cards.
Yeah.
Like the little
That's-
prepaid
I should've
debit
done
cards, and I used that for it because I was legitimately frightened that if I put my actual card in there, it was going to get stolen.
Yeah, I thought the same. It worked. But it turns out though, your card will get stolen on anything you do. Cause
Yeah.
I've had my card had fraud 2 times this month. I don't do anything, dude.
I've had.
I don't know what it comes
In
from.
2 years, I've had mine once, and shout out Teresa at International Bank of Amherst. She caught that immediately.
Oh yeah. Last year on Christmas,
but
I had
she's
a call.
she's brought up fraud alerts to me so many times. Like, she'll call me as soon as it happens. Like, even if it's outside of business hours. Like, she'll call me and go, "Hey, did you try to spend $486 at Shields?" Yeah. Oh, I see. And then she'll like try to. The way she'll say like, "Oh, okay. Well, have a good day.
She was on it.
She like guilt trips you into like, man, I really shouldn't buy this. Maybe I should let the throttle hurt go through. Cancel these. No,
she's 24/7. They'll call you any time of the night. Christmas 2 years ago, no, last year, 6 a.m. I was getting a call from PNC. Some person in Saudi Arabia was buying from a candy shop. I know, I was not in Saudi Arabia last night. It's always something.
But actual tournament recap, y'all boys had one big.
We had one of the right bites. I told y'all we were gonna hero or zero. We almost heroed, almost zeroed.
Four-way.
Four-way. We had one of the right bites. It was a 5-pounder.
We had one other one that was a.
Yeah, I had another, probably one close to 3 blow up on my buzzbait, and there wasn't nothing I could do about it. I thought I had her hooked underneath the walkway, set the hook, buzzbait came back, fish didn't. So
Yeah, mock Jesus.
yeah, coming back at Caleb's dome.
One landed in my hood.
Yeah,
It was pretty impressive.
Oh wow.
But
Our tournament, I tried to force that brush pile deal to work until, we like tried to force it to work till like 11, scrambled a little bit, came back to the brush pile deal, scrambled a little bit, and Carter picked up 3 out of the back of the boat behind me fishing boat docks while I was trying to pick them off piles. And I don't know whatever happened to that pile bite, but
Yeah,
it
it's
was
just
nowhere.
it was totally different conditions. It was it was like very post front, and it was windy. But like when you get back in these pockets, there's no wind, so it was like slick, sunny, and like these fish just, I don't know. I really haven't learned how to deal with a cold front on like a lake that's like literally all rock, because the first thing they tell you in a cold front is, oh, go fish rock because it holds heat.
Yeah.
Well, the entire lake is holding heat.
As an old
I don't
timer
know.
at the bar told me last spring when I came down here for the high school open on Table Rock, he told me, he asked me where I was heading. An old timer at the tackle shop asked me where I was heading because I had bought a boat. This was like beginning of March. Like we're still ice.
yeah,
Like we're still selling tip ups and minners.
Yes.
And I come in there buying a bunch of freaking crankbaits like wiggle warts, rock crawlers, and he goes, "Where are you headed? That's open water." And I go, "Oh, I'm heading down to Table Rock Lake in Missouri." And he goes, "Oh, well, I tell you what, you're down there." I went down there once, probably, and it took him a little bit to think about it, but he decided that it was 15-ish years ago. That's what he had decided. I don't know if it was actually something or whether he made it up, but he said fishing the rocks, those really big rocks is what he said. The really big rocks, but then also sometimes the little really tiny ones like that big, just the little bitty rocks too. He said fish those rocks with the crankbait or really anything on those rocks, but he said especially a crankbait, a red crankbait, you're gonna do really well.
Wow.
I had the same kind of conversation
Pro tips.
yesterday.
I'm gonna go try that. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
try
I mean, when you go to Table Rocks, just fish the rocks and stuff.
Yeah. No, I had some old fella at Bass Pro. I went home yesterday and went to my home Bass Pro with my friends back home. And I used my college discount card, and he was asking me where I go to college. I was like, "Oh, Jury." He's like, he knew one of our other opposing team's coaches, and we had a conversation and everything. He's like, "So you fish Table Rock?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Lake of the Ozarks?" I was like, "Yeah."
All right, so sorry for interrupting the middle of Caleb Coleman's story about the Bass Pro employee. But pretty much he just went to
It was the same older man story. Everyone runs into those.
the whole hecklers. But yeah, so our battery pack died and all of mine are in the door, which is very irresponsible. I should be a more prepared cameraman, but I'm not. So
Well, we're learning this whole podcast
Yeah.
thing, so
yeah, we gotta get a new microphone. Hopefully someday we get actual microphones. But
Yeah, big bag
Um,
home.
yes,
In a
little
studio.
podcast mic.
Next year, if we get a house.
make a little studio in the
Yes,
office.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna cut it off here. We're at like 40 something minutes anyways,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's time to cut it off. So thanks for not watching another episode of the Stiff Rod Pod and wait, is that what I said?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching another episode of the Stiff Rod Pod. And next week we'll have a recap on Pickwick.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be
Good
able to
luck,
go out.
boys.
Yeah,
Catch
a
us
little
all.
Wisconsin talk, and then hopefully
Yeah.
this weekend we can get back in the boat.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna bring these boys back some cheese. You'll hear all about it next
Yeah,
week.
we'll have a
on the
cheese
Stiff
curd
Rods podcast. We'll have a live cheese curd tasting.
Yeah, I'm gonna get,
Hell
and
yeah.
I'll get some upgrades done on the 364 is the plan for me, and some homework. So
All that and more coming.
coming
Stiff Rods.
next time on Stiff Rods Podcast.
See y'all.
See ya.
Peace out.